What was it like the first time I had sex? Well, the first time I had sex, I was 8 years old, dude, and I was walking down the street getting bread for my dad, dude. He was real into bread, dude. He loved to feed the birds and shit. So I went down to the store to get it, and on my way there, this girl stopped me by the name of Victoria. She said she wanted to tell me a secret. So I says, okay. She says, I want to take you to my apartment 2 blocks over. I'll show you a good time. So I says, okay, I'll head over there with you. And she goes over and we walk in the room. Man, this room was so fucking dirty, dude. It looked like the 34th floor of the Twin Towers, dude. I swear to God. And we walk into this room. It was all dark and shit. She led me into this room. And she says, hey, I want to fuck you right now. So I says, okay. So you know what? I took my pants off and shit, and we go at it, man. This room is really, really dark, dude. You couldn't see anything. So we start banging on the bed and shit. You know, we're getting into it. We're getting into it, and I heard these noises in the room. Like I couldn't. It sounded like somebody was in there. I said, "Honey, are you sure there's nobody in this room?" She says, "Oh, that's just my dad." I said, "Your dad? What are you talking about, your dad?" And she's like, "Oh, I do this all the time. He doesn't care." But we were so fucking into it, I couldn't call it quits there, dude. I had to keep going. So I was getting ready to finish, dude, and she says, I says, oh, baby, I'm getting ready to come. And she says, all right, I want you to come on my asshole and give me tape on the rim. So I says, okay. So I'm getting up, and I'm coming. And then her dad flicks on the light right as I'm coming. I guess he wanted a glass of water or something, I don't know. And he says, hey, man, good job. I said, you sure that's your dad? And she said, hell yeah, that's my dad. I do that all the time, dude. I said, are you fucking crazy, dude? Do you fuck your dad? She says, only once. I says, only once? I'm getting the fuck out of here. So I got my fucking bag, dude, and I walked right out that goddamn door like nothing happened, dude. Sex tips. Hey, I got a couple of good ones for you. I gotta tell you a story to go along, and that always makes it better. So this one time I was getting it on with this bitch, and some of them will tell you they don't like this, but have you ever heard of an Alabama Hot Pocket? It's when you open up their pussy and you take a shit right in their pussy and then you stick your dick in and you fuck her like crazy, dude. They'll all tell you they hate it, but this one time I had this bitch over. Some guys like to listen to Barry White when they make love. I say fuck that. I listen to Slayer and Megadeth and turn that shit all the way up. And then so the neighbors don't hear it, we just fucked like crazy, dude. She's moaning, I'm moaning, and I went somewhere in the point there, I pulled that pussy wide open and I just took a shit right in that pussy. She says, what the fuck are you doing? I said, bitch, that's why I got you tied up. Trust me, you're gonna love it. So I started fucking her, dude, and I swear to God, she screamed so hard. She said, that's the best damn sex I ever had.
What about some other tips? Anything else?
Some other tips? Oh, a lot of them will tell you they don't like anal. This one time I started fucking this bitch. She come up to me and she swore all up and down that she never wanted to do anal. And I says, why not? And she says, just trust me. And I says, okay. So we went to my house, and like usual, I put on some fucking crazy Megadeth, dude. That shit was screaming all up and down. And I went and I stuck my dick right in her asshole. And she said, don't do that. And right as she said that, I pulled out and she shit all over me. And this shit was fucking pink, dude. I didn't even give a shit that she shit on me. I just wanted to know why the fuck it was pink. So I says, why is your shit pink? She says, I got breast cancer. I said, what the fuck does that have to do with anything? And she says, hey, that pink ribbon doesn't mean help us. That means our shit's pink. I says, holy shit, I'll remember that next time. Now go get me some wet ones, dude. I need to clean this shit up. Obama's foreign policy? Well, you see, this one time I went to the gay bar, dude. And I went in there, and this guy says, hey, I'd like to buy you a drink. I think he was Mexican. And he says, I'd like to buy you a drink. And I says, okay, this guy seems like a nice guy. I wasn't thinking too much of it, you know. So he buys me a drink. He says, what do you want? And I says, oh, just a Budweiser. So he says, give me the most expensive shit you got back there for this man. I like this man. And I was thinking, oh man, this guy's really nice. He must have a nice house and shit. So he says, I'd like to take you home and show you a good time. So I says, okay, yeah, I'd like to see this guy's house. He seems like a pretty cool dude. So we get in his car. He's got a real nice car, man, a Ferrari. And he says, what do you like to do in the bed? And I says, well, usually when I go home, I turn on the TV and eat some Doritos. So he says, okay. So we go to Giant Eagle, dude, and he goes in. He says, I'll be right back. Don't touch anything. I says, okay. So he comes back out with a pallet full of fucking Doritos, dude. He gets a goddamn tow chain and tows his fucking Dorito pallet. And we're going all the way down Washington Pike, taking out street signs and fucking lights and everything, dude. And man, this guy was going so fast, dude. The wood worn out on the bottom of the pallet and the Doritos spilled everywhere. I said, dude, the Doritos are all over the damn ground. What are you gonna do? And he says, don't worry, I got another bag in the back. I says, oh, okay, well, that works. So we pull up to this guy's house, dude. He lives in a little town called Nevillewood. He's got a totally glass house. And we walk in and he goes, go in the bed and eat your Doritos. I'll be back in a second. I says, okay. So I go in the bed and I crack open my Doritos and I'm sitting there eating and I'm thinking, man, this guy sure is nice, dude. He goes and gets me all the Doritos I want. And man, he takes me for a ride in that beautiful car, dude. And then you know what? He comes in with chains and whips and he says, what do you like to do in the bed? And I says, oh, I'm having a pretty good time right now. And he says, not that, you moron, I mean sex. And I says, sex? I ain't never had sex before. And he says, are you serious? I says, yeah. And he says, well, you want to fuck me? I says, no, I ain't gay. He says, well, get the fuck out of my house then. I says, well, okay. And I just got out there and left, man. That was a crazy fucking day, dude. Nice guy.